Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our masterclass on Antwork. Right. So today we are going to have a session on the fundamentals of computer networking. Um, so this is going to be a very fundamental class, right, where you are going to understand, from very basic perspective what the computer networking is about. And this class is brought to you by Antwork. Probably I can just give you some idea about Antwork. So Antwork is an edtech platform, right, with the motto of sharing the professional experiences to everybody else, right, so that they can share their experience, and it can be beneficial for people who are starting their career or who are also their contemporaries, right? So that's the idea behind starting an Antwork. And with this motto, the Antwork has launched a series of master classes where we bring the industry professionals, to present here, give their webinars, and through them, actually, they want to share their own knowledge as well as their own experience. Right. So that's what the Antwork is doing right now. And in the series, we have launched multiple webinars which are on cybersecurity, right? And this is the continuation of the same series, right? So, guys, Antwork also has some boot camps about which I will talk also in later part of the session, right? So in this session, so this session is taken by a very renowned expert, Sandeep Rai. He's a senior network engineer. So probably I will give you some brief about Sandeep. Can you go to the next slide? So Sandeep has more than 10 years of experience as a network engineer. Uh, he has all the certification with respect to networking in world. He's CCIE, security, CCNA, routers and switches, CPIS, and ITL V3, right? So he has got all the certification. He can talk a lot also about the certification with you guys in the later part of the session. So he started his career with the ISS Technologies long back in 2000, no, 2007, 6, 7. After that, he has worked with the CPG, which is a sister concern of Airtel, and then he has spent many years with Infosys as a technology analyst. At present, he is working with a multinational German company as a senior network engineer. Right, his area of expertise are not only the network, but also software defined networking, and plus all the other emerging areas of network, right? So thank you, Sandeep. Thank you for agreeing to take this master class. I hope everybody will get a lot from this master class. And guys, this is going to be the first master class in the series of master classes that are going to come, in coming days, where we'll be going deeper and deeper into the, some of the networking concepts. Okay. Thanks, Sandeep. Thanks a lot for again agreeing to take this class. Please go ahead and start the session.
Yep. Thanks, Ram, for your kind words. And welcome, guys, in our first session. Yeah. So it's very basic. It's I think most of you guys aware most things about network fundamental, but yeah, irrespective, we'll try to cover from the basics. Ram, so before proceeding, I mean, I would like to have a small
Sandeep,
poll.
actually, we are having some technical challenges in launching a poll. Probably will start in 5 minutes.
Okay, no worry. Okay, so your examination is postponed, guys. So let's move to our some sort of knowledge session. Okay, so let me move to my first slide. I'll try my best not to make this as a boring class, but you guys would get something from this. So that's my agenda. Today's masterclass, I would be talking more about LAN, then what exactly we need for making this arrangement, how the network flow happens, then what are the types we have, and then topology. So it's something like you see day by day in your college, in your office where you started working. But yeah, we will try to cover up some more in details on that. So at least you should be knowing in a condition, if I live with all these components into a room, you should be able to establish a LAN connectivity. All right. So question. So first question from my side is, if you want to share some files. Let's say that when you go to the college, in your lab, you have some project files you want to talk, you want to share with your friends, and you are on the computer, you just access others' computer and share the file. But how exactly this goes from your computer to the other guy's computer? And that's what we are going to learn here. So network, all about, it's either two computer or more than two computers talk to each other, connected to each other, and that's all network. I am talking about computer network. So even the network comes in many other aspects. Like if you talk man-to-man network, or you talk about any kind of stuff which you like browsing internet kind of network. So like that. So your LAN is the one of the basic network which we are going to talk here, and that's where these components will be into use for establishing a LAN connection. So if you see here, you need a laptop, you need a switch to just establish a LAN connection. But what it does exactly, we are going to have in the next slides. So let's talk about, guys, you have, let's say that you are into the your startup company, and you need to establish a LAN connection, and you are not sure what exactly you need to do for that. And that's where you will ask your manager, okay, fine, I want to establish a LAN connection, give me a few computers. You will get computers, and that's visible in front of you here right now. Now, what next? Your manager will ask what next you need, and that's where you will go with, let's say, switch. You say that, no, I need a switch so that I can connect these all guys into the switch. But the question is, what exactly you need to connect from the switch to your client? And that's where we come with a cable. We call this as a copper wire. Okay. And then you start connecting these computers to the switch, and they are onto the LAN. But it's not complete, because you have done the physical connection and you need some kind of logical connection as well. And what is that? Let's move to the next slide. Okay, so this is the purpose. When you when your management, your company management asks you, hey guys, I want to share my file, I want to share my printer, I want to share some media or some kind of a repository media where I want my office, let's say that seminars or some different kind of occasions videos I want to put into central place which anybody can access. Can you do this all setup? And then you come up with saying, yes, we can do this, but we need a network setup, a LAN setup. And that's where I need to get these all components with me. And that's where your computer is there. That's where your router is there and your switches are there. But this is the application of your LAN. Why you need LAN? Because of your file sharing, your printer sharing, your, let's say that resource sharing, your internet, your, you want to manage as a network administrator remotely. You can manage any computer just remotely. You need to log into that computer and you can do all the installation kind of stuff. But these all possible if you have a network. All right. So, okay, that's something tricky. So now we need to understand what kind of, okay, let's say that all the networks, we deal with everyday networks, but we are not knowing their names, what kind of network they are. Example, let's say that guys, you have Bluetooth, you are sharing a movie from your mobile to your friend's mobile through Bluetooth, through other media, like let's say that hotspot you will establish, that comes under this span. So personal area network, that's something around within the 10-meter radius, and you will be communicating, you'll be sharing the files with that. Okay, I think every one of us has gone through this kind of sharing. Okay, so let's say that your laptop, your computer is there, you take a keyboard, and the keyboard comes with the wireless, and then you connect your wireless with the with the keyboard, and then that's communication again go through this PAN. So any wireless device which is under 10 meter radius is nothing but PAN. And the PAN full form is personal area network. Okay, now come back to LAN. What exactly that? So as I was talking to you about PAN, you can see that you have a laptop, you have, let's say that you have a mobile, you are setting up a mobile hotspot, you are sharing your hotspot, and then your laptop is connecting to mobile hotspot, accessing internet. This is coming under this PAN. Guys, I think someone's, can you just unmute, please? Yep, thank you. So here is our main topic starts, the local area network. So now the question is, I want to establish a local area network. What all components should I require? And what exactly I need to do this to establish the connection? And that's where I will go with a switch. And what is that switch looks like? The switch looks like, it's like a box, physical box, which will be having a lot of Ethernet interface into that. Okay. It comes with many different interfaces. Let's say so many interfaces. Let's say that you start with 8 port, then go with 16 port, 24 port, 48 port, and so on. And here you connect as much as port there, that much computer you can connect here with the help of wire. And that's all. They will start talking to each other with the physical connections. So this is exactly what I am showing you here. I have a PC named PC01, then laptop, PC02, and a printer. And these all guys are physically connected to a same switch, and they can talk to each other easily without any problem. But that would be again a limitation. You cannot connect any device which is more distance of 100 meter. Saying this, your copper connection cannot support more than 100 meter to transmit the data. So if your any PC is on more distance than 100 meter, you will lose with your data connections. Okay, so as I told you, PAN 10 meter, your LAN, it will again go with the copper 100 meter. And in that case, you have a big hall and you are connecting a switch. You are having all these laptops, desktops, they are all are connected to that switch. And that's all your LAN is established in that particular hall. But what if you have multiple storage office? Let's say that you have first floor, second floor, third floor, and you are landing with each floor one switch, and in each switch on that particular laptops or desktops are connected, but they want to talk to each other too. And that's where you can go with a different kind of cabling, and we call this as a fiber cabling. Okay, but the condition is it should be larger than 100 meter distance. If it is lesser than 100 meter distance, you can just go with the copper wire itself, no problem. So as soon as you connect two switches to each other, this is called you are establishing a uplink. Okay, and as soon as you establish a uplink, this guy, this PC1, let's say that PC1 and this is PC2, they can easily talk to each other via this uplink cable, irrespective they are on two different switches. But your LAN cannot exceed more than a building or more than a campus. So if it is your college campus, it is your office organization, you cannot go beyond that with your LAN connection. So it has its own limitation. So what will happen if I have my offices in Bangalore, let's say that, or in any other country with any other city with two different places, how I'm going to connect? Example, I have, let's say that okay, I think someone is in waiting room, Ram. Okay, So let's say that I have in Bangalore one office located in, let's say that location 1, and another office is located into location 2, which is having a wide distance of 20 meter to 50 meter, let's say that, between both. How I'm going to connect these two locations? And that's where LAN will not come into the picture, but the advanced version of LAN, that's called MAN, Metropolitan Area Network. And how they will connect together? They will connect with the help of either telecom local exchange, or you can, if it is something like you can lay the cable with the fiber, you can go with that way, which is technically not possible. So you need to go with some kind of telecom exchange. So do you know any of the telecom exchange who does this work? I think a few of us know about Airtel, BSNL.
BSNL.
Yes, you are right. Then BSNL is very what is called, it's very strong carrier provider, because it cover up to your villages, where most of the villages you don't have even the Airtel connections. So we can use this carrier, and then you can connect our Office 1 and Office 2 together. Okay, and that comes under this particular kind of connectivity. So estimated distance it cover is 50 meter. Okay, but that is within your metropolitan geographical area. What if you have 2 different states, your offices, or 2 different countries, your offices? How you are going to connect? So this particular technology will not work there. When you talk about a larger distance, maybe different cities, different countries, and then we need to move to this particular kind of technology called WAN. Again, this WAN is a widely used terminology.
Sandeep, our poll is ready. Do you still want us to go through it, or we can take a 2-minute break and have it?
Okay, so let me complete WAN, and then we can go for this poll.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Ram. So guys, so I was talking about WAN and why we require WAN, where we use WAN when we have offices connected or spanned over different cities or different countries, and which are having more larger distance than 50 kilometer. Okay, so in that case, what you are going to do? You are going to use you're going to use a telecom provider. Let's say that Airtel, or let's say that any other things, Tata. You have BSNL, many of that in India. If you go with German, Swisscom. So like that, we have different countries, different provider names. And we will ask them, can you give me internet? They will come with a lease line connection. They will set up a router at your office. And with the router, you connect your switch, and then your switch to your PCs. Okay. Then your traffic will move from the switch to the router, then go to your Airtel exchange, let's say that, and your Airtel will be having again the sources, different peer in the sense their parent ISP. We call this ISP in the sense internet service provider. Okay, and those again, they will be interconnected in the cloud in the sense in the internet world, and then over that it will go to your nearest, let's say that Switzerland. You have one telecom provider, Swisscom, and Swisscom will again give the connection to your Switzerland office with the router, and then your switch, and then your Switzerland laptop or desktop. So the connection always it will flow through your local provider. It will go to the internet world, then it will come with your again the next country local provider, and then through that to your office. So this is how your WAN connection goes. There are many other aspects to connect. You can go with a lease line connection. We call this LL lease line. You can go with ISDN connection. Okay, and you can go with Wi-Fi point-to-point connection. So these all are just the local, I mean, the intermediate carriers, and that can be in any form. It can be either in the fiber, it can be either in the wireless, or it can be either in the telephonic line. But the end of the day, your traffic is going to hit your local service provider, and from there it is going to hit your internet cloud. Then from there it is going to hit your destination, and that's how it will communicate. Yeah, so that's the overview of your WAN connection. There are a lot of terminology. If you start digging into that, it's a vast field. How connection happens, how communication happens, which all protocol we use for different service. We have different protocol. Again, what is protocol? That's and all I'm going to explain in following slides. Yes, Ram, over to you.
Okay, sure. I will. So, guys, we have just launched a poll, right? Basically, we have designed this poll so that we can understand your basic understanding of networking. You have 1 minute to go. Please start attempting it. Are you able to see the poll?
Yes, Ram, at least in my condition, I can see.
Yeah. Please put in your chat if you're not able to see the poll. I don't think people attempting it. Yep. Yeah. You guys buck up. I think only 25 people. Yeah. Yes, I can see the people coming now. Yep. 1 minute more.
Sir, when we get the result of this poll?
We'll get it right away. All right, last 15 seconds. Okay, it seems most of the people have attempted the quiz. I will end the poll. Yeah, so Sandeep, I'm sharing the results. Probably we can go through it.
Yep.
Right. So Sandeep, a poll has ended. This is the result of the poll. Right. And yeah.
So guys, who are those 10% who wrote local access network? So we just spoke local area network. Okay, anyway, since it's a beginning, who are not aware, that's fine. Please keep noting down if there is anything new terminology you are getting or something which you are learning or you are interested to note down that. But yeah, it's local area network. So 89% people are right. And it looks like we have intelligent audience now. Okay, which component is not required in computer networking? Of course, it's a headset because no one going to connect that for networking. It's just for your music listening and this one, this is only for your purpose. But NIC card is 17% people note, and that's very, very important device in networking. Without that, you're not going to connect your cables, your copper cable. OSI reference model, it's a little tricky. I just wanted to see how, how many percentage of audience has knowledge about OSI reference model, but I can see I'm very much happy that 38% aware about that. So network is the right answer for this. All right. And the fourth question is obvious, like you're going to connect a bus topology where you are going to connect all the devices with a single pair of the cable. Okay, good. Thanks guys for participating into this, and that gave me the idea how I should proceed on this.
The fifth question also, Sandeep.
Okay. Chat, yeah. Is there a question?
Yeah, Sandeep, there is a question of 5 also. Which of the following is not valid V4 IPv4
okay,
address?
Sorry, I overlooked. Okay, yeah. So the fifth question is about IP addressing, and there are certain science behind this. Like if you go, moreover it's calculation, but with the some fixed methodology, like how you're going to use that. So anything and everything, any IP which is beyond 1.255 is not valid one. So we always start any IP last octet I'm talking about, which 0, and it goes up to 255. But anyway, that we will cover next in the slides. But I'm sure this in this session, I think we are not covering this particular IP address terminology, but yeah, that should be for next session for sure, because that's itself a very wide stuff. Okay, so let's move to the next slide. Okay, so again, more about LAN, since it is specifically to the LAN session. Applications, like you can use this LAN into residence, school, laboratory, university campus. You guys has seen that, so nothing new. But yeah, who all has not seen or not knowing that this is the LAN I'm working into, you can always refer this particular wordings here. So it's privately owned. If I'm having 10 computers in my college lab and they are interconnected, I am going to own. Here I'm referring the college management. If you are working into office and you are having, let's say, 100 of computers connected to the switch and you have LAN, it's your network. You are going to own that if you're an IT guy. So it's not like if you're working in Infosys and Wipro will come and tell, no, it's my LAN. It's not possible. So it's your LAN, you are going to manage that. And that's the reason it is privately owned computer network. All right. Guys, who all wants to switch on the video, they can do, but I'll suggest you to switch off so that you will not consume extra bandwidth over that. Okay. All right, thanks. So now components, the most important part of your LAN network is component. So I exactly want to know, if I want to set up a LAN, what exactly I should ask my manager to provide me or my management to provide me. So if I'm not knowing what are the components I need to know, I cannot build my LAN. I cannot ask my management to give me these all components unless I'm not aware with that. So in that case, yeah, let me discuss about you. So first and most important is switch. Without switch, you cannot establish a LAN connection. Okay, so I will go with a switch, but the question is, if I have the switch, is that enough for me? No. What exactly I want to connect to the switch? Obviously, my PC. Is not that? I have PC, I have laptop, but the question is, let's say that Samir, I can see your name, so I'll note down here, Ram, and I will pick up some more name, let's say me itself. And I want to connect, I want to talk, I want to share some of my data to Ram and Samir, but I don't know how to do that because I don't have local area network. So what I'll do that, I will go and ask to the IT manager or IT in charge, hey, I want to share my files. Can you help me? And that guy will say that, okay, you don't have any LAN connection. Okay, so what should I do? Can you do this for me? And then the IT in charge will go to the IT manager and say that I have a request to set up a LAN connections. And for that, I need some certain components. And what are those components? I have PC with me, so that's done. I can tick mark this, but I need switch, the second most important point. So I bought a switch from the market. Let's say that it's some bucks I consumed and I got this. But how I'm going to connect this PC with the switch? And here I need a cable. And what kind of cable that is? It should be copper cable. Okay. In IT terminology, we call this as a patch cord. How many patch cord do I need? 1, 2, and 3. It's a simple mathematics. Now my physical connection is done. Next, what I want? Now I should go with the logical connection. And logical connection means I need to give a IP address. Let me talk to you a very interesting moment, guys. You guys know about letter system, how letter system works in India. If you want to send some letter to one of your friends which are in some village or some states, you are in Bangalore. So what you'll do that you will go and post this to your local post office. The local post office, again, he will see the PIN code of your area and he will send that letter to that your PIN code. Let's say that 2323 something. And your nearest post office will receive this letter. He will see your address and he will go and give it to you on that particular village. If you would not be knowing what is your name, you cannot send this letter to your place. If you don't know what is the your village address, if you don't know what is your PIN code, you cannot send this letter to the right person. And that's the reason here, same mathematics we have used here with the form of IP address. Saying this, each one PC has its own unique IP address. So if I give, let's say 192.168.1.1 IP address to this PC, which is Samir PC, I cannot give the same IP address to Ram. I need to change it. 192.168.1.2. I changed the last octet. So if you see here, the first 3 octet I am not changing. What I'm changing? The last octet. And I have the detailed session in coming webinars when we will be talking about the IP addressing. But for at the moment, just to understand, we are going to compare only the last octet. By the way, what is octet? Anything which is separated by this small dot is called octet. Okay, so I have 1 octet, 2 octet, 3 octet, and 4th octet. Total 4 octet I have in IP addressing. Okay, so in all these 4 octet, only the last one going to be changed for each system. So in this Samir system, I have 192.168.1.1, Ram system 192.168.1.2, and Sandeep system 192.168.1.3. Now I want to communicate to since my name is Sandeep, I would like to communicate to Ram or Samir via my PC. So what I'll do that, I will send a packet, and in that I will mention the destination address or nothing but the address of Samir, which is 192.168.1.1. And this packet will go to switch. But switch will not understand this particular IP terminology. That's another challenge. So what switch will understand is another terminology called MAC address. So before sending this letter to Samir, my PC will say, let us find out what is the MAC address of Samir PC. so that I can complete my later writing, later address system. So he has written 192.168.1.1 IP of the Samir. But now what he's looking for? MAC address of Samir. How he will find out that? He will request this to switch. Switch, can you do behalf of me? So he will send a broadcast message. Hey, what is the MAC address of Samir? Can anyone tell me? The broadcast message will come to the switch. Switch will smartly send this to whatever connected devices. And this announcement, the loud screaming from my side, hey, what is the MAC address of Samir, is called ARP request. So Ram will get my request, Samir will get my request, because switch is broadcasting. He's not understanding what I'm asking. He will simply forward this to both of these guys. Ram will see my request and he said, no, I am not Samir. So he will discard my message. But who will accept my message? It's Samir, because I'm looking for Samir. And Samir will say, yes, I will reply you with my MAC address, and that MAC address he will send it to me. As soon as I get that MAC address, I will mention here Samir MAC address. But this switch is very intelligent. As soon as Samir will reply, he will note down Samir MAC address on which port he is belonging to. Let's say the switch port number 1, Samir is connected. Port number 2, Ram is connected. Port number 3, I am connected of the switch. He will note down Samir. Okay, I don't know who is Samir, but I can see one MAC address is coming from this port on port number 1. He will note down that MAC address. Since I send the broadcast, he can see my MAC address also. He will note down my MAC address on port number 3. And this kind of table, he will create in that a hidden table. He will not tell to anyone that, guys, I'm aware with your MAC address, your MAC address, your MAC address. He will silently make a table in it. And that table is called MAC address table. Now, I need to send this later. This is what my original target. And that's the reason I requested IT guy to set up the the LAN infrastructure he set up, and then I am proceeding to sending the final letter to Samir. So this time my letter will go to switch. Switch will see whom I should forward this packet. He will see Samir MAC address. He will see his MAC address table, and he can come to know that this MAC address belongs to port number 1 of my switch. And he will send this packet to Samir directly. This is LAN all about, guys. This is how it works. And that's the reason we call switch a very intelligent device. All right. Now, I have a server. Let's say that I have a big server here connecting, which is having some documentation or some company files. I want to access this. I put SCR name. And the same mechanism, same way, I will again connect to server. So what I'll do that, I don't know server MAC address. I will loudly scream, what is the MAC address of server? This broadcast will go to everyone. Will Samir accept this time? No, because he's not the server. Will Ram accept this? No, he will discard. Even Samir will discard this request. So request will go originally to server guy. Server will reply with his MAC address, and immediately as soon as this MAC address will be coming to this interface, let's say port number 4, switch will note down this. Port number 4, I can see another MAC address, which is this. And then server reply, I will get 1-to-1. Then I will send my packet again, and server will reply this time to 1-to-1. And switch will be easily doing that work for me. So the communication which went to everyone is called broadcast. And the communication one-to-one, which server replied to me, is called unicast. All right. So these two are very, very important terminology we always use to refer in the LAN. Okay. Now, next question, what is host? If I say in my networking, okay, in your LAN, how many hosts do you have? You're the IT guy, your manager asks, how many hosts do you have? What you'll answer? Host is nothing but your any device which are having IP address. Okay. So in my case, it's PC, it can be laptop, it can be my mobile who is connected to some wireless connections of my LAN, and any device who are having IP addresses. They are called host. So we never call, or we generally do not call any of the PC of the local area network with their name. We call host. Okay. So we refer host, we refer this device where they are connecting to, and that's how my LAN connection complete. Okay. As I discussed you, what all the things do I require to connect hosts to each other? Switch, hub, it's old model hub. We are not using nowadays that. Okay. But switch and the router, this is what widely we are using. So these two devices, from there, each host will be connecting and talking to each other and completing the LAN setup. Hope this is clear to you guys. Okay. So what is the target doing this LAN connection? So that I can connect all the hosts and I can transmit the data among them. That's the only agenda I have for setting up this LAN connection. LAN, sorry, it should be local area network, short form LAN. So we call always LAN together, local area network. Next question, how this switch works. I explained this in the previous slide already, that they will work about the MAC address. They will be looking at the MAC address of each other, source and destination, and then it will be forwarding the packet. Okay. But what is this? I understood that how switch works. It works with the MAC address. It requires a physical connection from the PCs. Okay. And it will create a MAC address table. But why these all things I'm referring here? Why I require this OSI reference model to study, or why do I require here in the LAN connection? This decide how your flow will be. So you know that any device, let's say that today I built a phone. It's a new invent. Let's say that in world there were no any phone, and I just introduced one new device phone. It came with my patent, my name, Sandeep. By seeing this, immediately other guys will also start building this, manufacturing these phones with their own name brands. Okay. So now we will be having different names, different companies manufacturing phones. But I need a standard which everyone should follow. Okay. So that I should not be struggling if I change one manufacturing phone to other manufacturer phone. I should not be struggling with that. It's almost working as a common way. Same terminology we use here as well. So if you use a switch, which let's say that Cisco manufactured at the beginning. By seeing this, Juniper also came into the picture. They also manufactured switch. Your HP also came into the picture. D-Link also manufactured switches. But if all the switches will start acting their own, they would not follow a common standard. What would be consequence? It's very difficult to manage. Your company, they will not see the technology, they will see the money. If they see that I spend very less amount buying a HP switch. Why I should spend higher money to the buying a Cisco switch? So they will give the HP switch to you, which is completely having a different methodology of working, and you'll be into the mess up, because you need to again go through this training, how to configure, how to what are the commands, how it is going to work, everything you need to study. Again, tomorrow they will come, no, I don't want HP switch, go with Juniper. Again, you are going to take the training, go and study this together. It's very difficult. So OSI reference model give us a common way how the traffic flow. Okay. So it starts with application layer and it goes till physical layers. So why I'm referring this particular OSI reference model in this slide, because your switch works in this particular layer, layer 2, data link layer. But you will not understand what is this relation, the switch data link layer, what is mean, what I'm talking about, how does it matter to me, unless you will not understand this flow. Okay. So Ram, I think I'm going to take a little longer. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay. So now let's start OSI reference model, and then I will explain to you this particular slide again. OSI reference model, let's say that I have opened a browser and I type very nicely www.google.com. My Internet Explorer, he will immediately, let's say, I don't know what is the gender of this one. I just pronounce as a he or it, anything as you like. Your Internet Explorer will immediately make a decision that you want to access www.google.com. And this will provide you the application layer interface. Means a user-friendly interface where you can type freely whatever you want. Google.com, Rediff, Yahoo, whatever. Your choice. But where you're typing in Internet Explorer, it means that your Internet Explorer works in application layer. So any application which will provide you interface to type something, which you can feed and that can processed by computer, that is falling under application layer. Fine. Same time, I am accessing yahoo.com. Same time, I want to access YouTube. And the tab I will open, I'll access, let's say that Facebook. Now your computer will say, this guy is accessing so many things. How will I manage? So what he will do that, he will contact your Internet Explorer, will forward your traffic to presentation layer. Presentation layer is responsible to display your data as it is. What is mean by that? Yahoo will be having some pictures and all. Okay, Yahoo server will send you some pictures, some homepage to your browser. How this will go and directly open to only this particular tab? Why it is not opening to Yahoo tab? Why Yahoo homepage is not opening to Rediff? When I'm opening multiple tabs, how your computer is knowing Yahoo data should send to Yahoo, Rediff data should send to Rediff? How he will be knowing? This guy is culprit. He is the responsible for doing this. So he will decide what data, where I should send. What would be the presentation, your MPEG files, your MP3, everything. It will be managed by this presentation layer. Okay. Now come to your session layer. Session layer, generally what will happen? Your computer, you open google.com and it will go to the server, Google server. Google server will come to know that you want to access the home page. He will send you the home page. Now you will build a session with your server, Google server. And that session is building. And once you are done with your job, you will close the tab, then tearing down this session. This all done by this session layer. All right. But these three layers are providing you the raw data. What do you mean by raw data? It's unmanaged, something which you will not understand. It will just in backend, it will convert into machine language and give it to you. Okay. But your network doesn't work with raw data. You need to pass this raw data from session layer to transport layer, and transport layer will start managing these data. So what he will do that he will split this raw data to small chunks, and we call this segments. Transport layer, and actually your job starts from here. These three, you do not have any control. It's all automatic, done by your computer. You don't have any role, any what's called smartness you can show here. But your smartness will be reflected as these 4 layers, as a network engineer or as a IT support engineer. Okay, so now transport layer got the raw data. He made the small chunks, and then these all he labeled as a segments. He forwarded this to network layer, the next guy. Now this guy is actually your postman officer. He will see where you want to send this data. And that's where my previous scenario will come, where I wanted to send my data to Naveen or Samir, let's say. So this my IP address where I'm mentioning here, that IP address is nothing but mentioned by your network layer. Okay, so he will mention, network layer will mention Samir IP address top of this. Just a moment, guys. I think it's little messy, but I'll try to, yeah, I'll try to again delete and see. Let me mention here. Okay, so your OSI reference model, I'm going to talk only right now on the network perspective. So your transport has given the segments to network layer. Now network layer, what he will do? He will find out where you want to talk, where you want to send this packet. And your segment, top of that, he will create another layer. And here he will mention destination IP address. What do you mean by destination? Where I am sending this packet. Okay, so in my case, I'm sending this packet to Yahoo server from my PC because I want to access yahoo.com. Okay, he will mention the IP address here of Yahoo. And this particular enclosure, we call this packet. Now he will move this to next guy, who? The data link. Okay, he will move this packet to network guy, will give in this packet to whom? To data link guy. And what data link guy will do? Since he is the guy who is going to do your courier job. So your packet is ready. Top of that, he will mention the MAC address of whom? Yahoo. And then this enclosure is called frame. And this is done by data link guy. Now the frame is built, and he will forward this to your NIC card. What is NIC card all about? The LAN card which is there in your PC. Okay, it looks like, let's say, this. It looks like this. Okay, so when your NIC card will get this frame, what he will do? It will again convert this to 0 and 1. Can anyone tell me what is this 0 and 1? Why it will convert it to 0 and 1? Because your computer
only understand 0 and 1.
Yes, because your computer understand only the bits language. We call this as a bits language.
And so whatever data will go through, it will go through the cable. Inside the cable, it will go in the form of 0 and 1 only.
Exactly. No, in the cable, it will go in the voltage form. Okay, I'm coming to that, Devanshu. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Devanshu. So now this NIC card, it will just again split this to 0 and 1, and then it will start sending this to copper wire, which is going and connecting to other side into switch. But not 0, 1 will be understandable by this copper cable. Hence, he will send this into the electric pulses. So it means if there is a pulse, your switch will think it's a 1. If there is no pulse, 0, again pulse 1. So a periodic interval, you'll be getting this pulses, non-pulses, pulses, and that's why it will construct this bits. Okay. Same way it will go to your other PC, let's say that Yahoo server. And here now your NIC card will again gather these all 0, 1, 0, 1, and it will construct with that frame back, same manner. Which frame you split it into 0, 1, put it into electric pulses, sending back to the Yahoo server. Yahoo server again constructed it back to frames, that NIC card, which works on your physical. Now your frame is ready. He constructed back your frame. Now he will see what is the IP address I need to send. And he will find out the IP address of your Yahoo server. He will give it to network layer. Now network layer will remove this, ripped off this IP addressing, and he will see inside the segments. And then that segment will go to transport layer. Transport layer will send to session. Then session will presentation and application. That's how your reverse engineering happens. So your OSI reference model will decide which protocol you're going to work, how the communication flow is going to happen from one PC to other PC or one host to other host. And if you understand this clearly, you can crack many interviews, you can manage any LAN connections and troubleshootings. And that's very, very important in LAN networking. All right. Yeah. So your switch works into data link layer because it deals with MAC address and it construct frames. Okay. Now, I understood till now whatever wires and all does. But what about wireless? How do I connect? Because I don't connect any copper wire in that. Then how this communication happens? So communication either in form of copper or in form of electromagnetic waves. Anything, they are just a media. They are just a media. Either you connect a wire to the switch or you send this complete communication either in form of electric pulses or electromagnetic waves. It's just a media. So your OSI reference model will follow the same, either it's wire or wireless. Only the thing that instead of sending electric pulse, it will be sending into electromagnetic waves. And it will be having a client which will be receiving, again converting back to 0, 1, 0, 1. And that's how again it will reverse engineering happen. All right, guys. So wireless or wire, it's nothing but only difference is media, how they are going to talk from host to access points. Okay. Now I said access point. What is mean by that? Access point is responsible to convert or to send, convert your data packets into electromagnetic waves, and then it will be sending it to your server, your laptops, your mobile, your desktops, and there will be a receiver, client receiver in your inbuilt into your laptop. In my case, it is built just behind my monitor in the laptop. If you see the laptop monitor, just behind this wireless receiver is there. In phones, it would be somewhere, I don't know, either this side, but each different manufacturer do this different way. So if you talk like that, maybe he will put this receiver here, because there should be a interference with your body. It generate also some kind of signals, and that will create the problem. So it will, some guys will put here, some manufacturer will put here, some people will talk like that. I mean, it depends on how they are planning to do this, but they will be putting a wireless receiver. Pawan, your mic is on. Hello, Pawan. All right, guys. And then the most important part of your office networking, let's say it's a router. So router enable you to talk if you are talking beyond your LAN. So let's say that you want to talk to internet, you want to talk to your next office, which are located on WAN. So this all make possible with the router connections. All right. Okay. So that's one of the most important points. So I would like to go slow over this, and please, you guys pay attention on this, because if you understand router, you understand WAN terminology easily. So let me give you a very interesting scenario. Let's say that I know English or I know Hindi, but I'm not aware Chinese language, and there is a Chinese guy. How will I talk? I definitely need an interpreter who can explain my language in Chinese and Chinese language back to my language. Same way, if I have two different segments, let's say that 192.168.1.2, and here I will go with 10.1.1.1. These two guys wants to talk to each other. This is Chinese guy. This is Indian guy. They need an interpreter. So if I want to reach to this guy, how will I reach? I'll send them my packet to Switch. Switch is a very gentleman. He will not take that much load. He will directly forward this to router, because he will say 192.168.1.1 guy wants to talk to 10.1.1.1. He is not in my range. No one connected to me, replying to me. So I will forward this to router. Let router to take this headache. Where is this guy located? And then router will send this packet to internet, and somewhere on the internet world, this guy also connected, and that's why he will reply back. So your language communicating to different kind of IP addressing is only understood by this router. All right. So router will smartly send this to internet. Somewhere in the internet, this guy will be, if connected, he will reply back. So router is very, very important if you're talking about LAN, if you're talking about MAN connections, as I explained to you earlier in the slides. And it works on network layer. Why? Because it only understands IP address language. It will not understand your MAC language. Because MAC address understand only by switch, which fall under data link layer. All right. A lot of things there in router, but for this fundamental perspective, I think this should be enough. Okay. in this scenario, I think we have another interesting scenario. So let's say that PCA wants to talk to PCB. Okay. And he has two ways to reach. Let's say that BSNL connection I have taken Tata connection, and now my router will get confused. Should I send this packet via BSNL to Chinese guy, or should I send via Tata to this Chinese guy, who is my next office, China office colleague? So router is very intelligent. He will see how many different kind of devices are in middle. And router has given a very interesting name to these guys, hop. So he will tell 1 hop, 2 hop, 3 hop. This PCB is away from me 3 hops. 3 hops away. This guy is from me if I send via BSNL. But if I send the same packet via Tata, it is just 2 hops away. And then he will take the decision via this way to send this packet to PCB. So we call router an intelligent device because it will calculate the path. It will see which path is smarter, faster, and he will send accordingly. Okay, let me tell to you another scenario. What if this is having very less speed, 1 Mbps, 1 Mbps, and this guy is having 100 Mbps, 1 gig. Now, if you send the packet here, it will go with the 1 Mbps slow, like your bullock cart. And here you have bullet train. Which path you will opt? Again, your router will calculate. He will look at bandwidth perspective also. How fast this path is, how fast this path is. So first thing he will look at hop, bandwidth, and then he will take the decision, which is the best path. So these, there are a lot of technology, terminology, which you will do, or which you'll go through if you go with some certain kind of certifications. You will be in depth knowledge with router. But at the moment, I think this is okay for you guys. Difference between switch and router. Now I think you guys enough to tell me. You are much aware what we have explained in the previous slides. So router is working on network layer, switch is working in layer 2, switch works with MAC address, router work with IP address, and so on. So any LAN connection, if you want to connect, you definitely need this NIC card, which will be somewhere fixed in your laptop, desktop, and then you need this copper cable. Okay. Fine. What is this called? This copper cable, this interface, we call this as RJ45. This come and hook into this particular interface of an IC card. And that's where your connection gets complete, physical connection. Other side also of this cable will be having same kind of interface, which will go and connect to switch. It means it will be also having Ethernet interface. We call this as a Ethernet interface. Ram, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Sandeep. So guys, probably I would also like to take some time to walk you through NTalk experiential program that we have launched. Sandeep, can you go to the next slide? So guys, NTalk has launched a 16-week program on cybersecurity. And in the 16 weeks, actually, we have divided the program into into 2 parts. Like one is where we are dealing with the core skill parts, and we also try to impart some of the soft skills to you guys. Right. So this is a weekend program where we have 1 class on Saturday and 1 class on Sunday, and on Sunday morning usually we have the soft skill classes. right? So this program is basically taken by 10 different experts. So we have divided the whole program into different competency. Let's say SOC, SIEM, or network security, and every part is taken by a professional who is working in that industry, right? So as part of this program, so whenever we have a class, we give previews before the class, and every part class is followed by some project that you have to submit within a week, right? So that's how we deliver this program. And this program also comes up with the 100% placement guarantee, or placement assistance, not guarantee, because finally you have to appear for the interviews, right? So we have tied up with a lot of companies, right? The placements are already happening right now. Interviews are also happening, right? So we try to also tie up with companies so that by the end of this program you have chances to appear for different companies. Sandeep, can you go to the next slide? So I will just give you an idea also how we have developed this program. So this program has 10 modules, right? We start with introduction, the network security, right? Then we deep dive into the cyber attacks part, right? And then we go into the verification security. So in these, every project, every island, basically we learn different tools. Let's say network security, you learn about the Wireshark, you learn about the Nmap. Similarly, in cyber attacks, we learn about the reverse engineering of a malware. Similarly, in web application security, you'll be learning the burp suite, you'll learn the OS SOC 10, right? And then a major part of our focus will be shifting towards the SOC, right? So the first part will be your incident management. Then go to next slide, Sandeep. So second part of this will be a SIEM tool. So in our course, we are dealing the SIEM tool through SIEM tools through QRadar. So we have the 6 classes on QRadar, right? Where you'll be able to work, learn the QRadar as a SIEM tool. And this SIEM tool are very high in demand in the market. So so wherever you can join as an L1 analyst in a SOC team of companies, right? So that's a major part of our program. Then we also expose you to the digital forensic part, governance and compliance, right? Some idea about the cloud security also, because that's also where the transition is happening, right? So I have shared you a link on the chat box. Please register yourself in there, and one of our counselor will reach out to you in case if you have doubt. He'll be able to explain you also that doubt, and yeah, hope to see you, some of you in our classes. Sandeep, you can take. Sandeep, I think we are already running out of time, so probably we can cover the remaining part in the next sessions also. So we can maybe take 10 more minutes and then.
Yeah, I think I have covered based on my knowledge. So for this session, I think it would be okay. So let's go with the question answers. Okay. I can see few questions floating at the moment. Hemant wrote missing language. That's absolutely right. Then we go with OSI reference model. I think you can maybe video would be provided right now or something.
Yes. We will provide the recording of this session.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Ram. And what is router? I believe I have covered. Is it possible to have same IP on different countries? Yes, absolutely right. So it is possible. Your LAN IP addressing will not. I mean, again, there are two different kind of IP addressing. One is public, one is private. So which all example I have given, those are the private IP addresses, and private IP addresses can be given any offices, different LANs, and number places you can give. So, but if it is on the term of public IP address, that you cannot use many places. It's only one segment, one location only. Okay. So I will cover this in next session. IP addressing, it's all in details, like why do we require private IP addresses? What is public IP addresses? What are the ranges? And how can I communicate if I have the same IP address to two different offices, as Hemant asked the questions. So these all things we can cover in the next session. But yeah, for your answering your question, Hemant, it is possible because private IP addresses cannot go over router and over internet.
Okay. Guys, you can unmute yourself in case if you want to ask question. Probably we are going to take the last question here. Okay, Sandeep, it seems that we are overwhelmed by the session. Right. In case if we don't have any more questions, we will close the session now. Thanks again, Sandeep, for giving such a detailed description of OSI model. I know I have seen, even though people with a lot of experience, they also, fail to answer these questions in interviews, which are very, very basic in nature, right? So although, so network engineering sometimes becomes a part of this, very basic of cybersecurity. So even in the cybersecurity interviews, questions are asked on the network engineering front, and a lot of people I have interacted with a lot of recruiters, and they complain that people are not ready with even the basics of network engineering, right? So I hope that this session has been very, very useful for everybody who's around here, and they will be. Yes, somebody saying something. Okay. So I hope that they will be able to use whatever we have discussed here and take its help in cracking the interviews. And in case you can also join Antalk, we have a very good program where experts like Sandeep probably are trying to rope in also for our program. We have a lot of other experts who are very, very experienced. You can take that program and probably launch your career also in cybersecurity. So that's one more thing. We have launched a small survey. This is just a token of appreciation for the expert, or in case if you have some comment, at least we will know, right, how the session has been. So please fill up this form. That will give us boost to launch this kind of masterclass also in future. Right. Thanks again, Sandeep. Thanks a lot for your time.
My pleasure. Yeah, and thanks, audience. It's all credit goes to you because you were very patient over that listening, and I hope you guys benefited with this session. But definitely, you will hear from us on the next sessions, and Antalk team will be contacting you back again.
And probably you can also visit our event calendar on Antalk. There also will be listing it, but we'll try to also mail you the schedule for the next class.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.